one thing that I have to tell you from the outset is that the syllabus for AP World History normally overwhelms all the students because it feels like you have to remember a lot of facts, you have to remember a lot of data, okay, and you basically have to cram up. So if you compare it with, say, US history, the syllabus will look limited. And world history, it's modern world history, by the way, that I'm focusing on. It may sound like the syllabus is very heavy or data oriented, um, which is not wrong. But the thing is, there is a way of preparing for world history. And if the student is a little smart, okay, then they'll be easily able to crack this code. Okay, so there is a code to crack when it comes to world history. So let's see. So basically, this is what you need to aim at. This is what surprises people. 1200th century, right? So you probably have to learn about 900 years. And my maths is bad, by the way. So if I make any calculation error, please pardon me. So you have to understand this cultural, economic, political, and social developments. But if you have ever looked at a question paper, so okay, I didn't get time to add questions to this from past year papers, but I'll definitely share the link and you can check the papers or past year papers from there. So what happens here is, this is not about citing examples, or what I should say is using a lot of data to show that how much you can memorize. Is basically your analytical skills which is tested. So you have to analyze texts. So you have to give your insight. For example, let's say we are talking about, say, European history, and we're talking about the period of Renaissance. So instead of telling, or instead of writing a lot of facts related to Renaissance in terms of the years or names of people, you basically have to say what we learned from that period. So that is what the College Board looks at. Okay, so the exam is in May. Okay, so I'm getting some questions here. Give me one sec. Exam will be on 12th May as per the notification so far. This is the normal date. Okay, so that's 2022 AP. And the world history will test your understanding of the historical concepts, which are, there are 9 units. I think the number of units is the same for European history, US history, and world history. So there are total 9 units. And here you have to prepare for the course units. So you need to know the course. You have to understand your ability to analyze secondary sources, primary and secondary sources. This is something new. If you follow any of the boards in India, okay, let's say CBSE, ICSE, or even IB board, using sources is something which has not been taught that extensively. It is touched upon, but it is never really explained. So that is one thing where you need a lot of practice. So if you're looking at, world history as a subject, I'll say it is very scoring, but it should only be taken by a student who has some basic aptitude for history. I won't say knowledge of history, but you need to have a basic aptitude. If you don't enjoy history as a subject, or if you don't watch documentaries, or if you don't want to learn from your past, if those things are not your part of your natural inclination, then I would say that world history is not the subject. But if you are somebody who likes to learn from the past events, if you are somebody who likes to know and who likes to understand why something happened, let's say, why did the First World War happen? Was it just, a crime of opportunity which resulted in a catastrophic series of events? Or was there something more going on? What do you think gave rise to Hitler? How did he become so powerful? Right? I know I gave a lot of examples from European history, but what I'm saying is this is also true for world history. Okay, so this is something that you need to understand. So who should prepare for this exam? Somebody who has a basic aptitude or love for history. And then you'll be able to definitely prepare for it. I think the time taken for this would be 3 to 4 months of sustained effort. That would be good enough, provided you have some aptitude. Okay. Now, this is the exam duration. You have 2 sections. One is the section 1, it has multiple choice questions and short answer questions. And the second section is the free response question. So you have total 3 hours and 15 minutes, which I think is 195 minutes. 55 questions, 55 minutes. This is the key. If you do well here, getting that 5 is not difficult, or getting that 4 is not difficult. This is what you need to first look at. Okay. Short answer types question are normally tricky, but yes, doable. But this is 40% of your exam. Okay. This is 40% of your paper. So you need to keep that in mind. Then you have the second section, which is the free response section. So in the free response section, just one sec. I'm sorry, something happened here. I'm sorry, I clicked on something. So in the free response section, this is something which is new for us. The first section is not difficult. Again, when I say it's not difficult, I'm talking from a different perspective. Don't think that it's absolutely easy. Okay, so with a little bit of effort, this is not difficult. This is something which requires a lot of practice. This is where you probably need expert guidance. So when somebody asks me, ma'am, when do you need some kind of training or professional training? I would say that instead of somebody teaching you the course, I mean, that may not be that essential, but what you definitely need is somebody who will guide you to how to write these responses. Somebody who will actually tell you the pattern that College Board looks for in a student's response. Okay, so you'll be presented with 7 documents. They will talk about different historical development or process. Let's say if I'm talking about industrialization, then they'll give you some document which will talk about industrial development. Okay, and then you'll be asked to develop an argument-based essay on that. Okay, so this is one that you need to keep in mind. Section 2B. So here you have 7 documents. You have to use all of them and make your, using the documents is of paramount importance. The second one is, it's a long essay question. So it has just one question. You have 3 prompts. You have to select one of them. And each test the same skills, but the questions focus on different historical time. And for many of my students, this is the preferable time. The time is 1750 to 2001. This is something we normally pick because this is first, it's from a recent era and it's very easy to understand that. So for this, I normally ask my students to prepare in 2 eras, 1450 to 1900 and 1750 to 2001. There is a little bit of overlapping and this is easy. This one is a little difficult, but then again, it's my personal opinion. So teachers may differ on that. Okay, now you'll be asked to develop and support an argument. Again, what you need to remember is both the free response questions test your skills of argument. Okay, so that is something that you need to understand. So how should you go about preparing for this? Understand the units. So the first thing is you need to understand all the units which are there. So there are total 9 units. One is the global tapestry. So this one is basically the introduction. Okay, how the world started in a way. I'm talking about the civilized world. Then the second one is networks of exchange. Don't go by these names. They're fancy names, but the topics are slightly different. Okay, then these 2 are slightly boring. This is much better, or this is where history actually starts, land-based empires, transoceanic interconnections. So this is one where you will probably learn about ocean exploration. You'll understand about maritime, how Navy or ocean power became the power and it gave rise to the new rich. Okay, so this is something that you'll, that is very interesting. Then you have revolutions. It's limited by scope. Don't think that you have to learn about every revolution that has ever happened in world history. Okay, so it's very limited in scope. And then you have the consequences of industrialization. This by far is my favorite chapter. Unit 6 and 7, I personally like it a lot. Okay, so consequences of industrialization, global conflict. So these 2, and you get some very interesting prompts on these 2. Okay, and the last 2 are Cold War and decolonization, globalization. Not difficult to understand. And if you already know about the history between Soviet and US, then this chapter becomes very easy. And it also has an impact on, if you're preparing for European history or you're preparing for US history, this chapter is kind of common to all of them. Globalization is common to every history subject that you have. Okay, so this is basically about the exam. This is the link. So if you want, you can just go to the College Board courses. This is where in the assessment page, okay, I can open this link, but then I tried, and what happened is I'll not be able to show you all the free responses because they come in PDF format. You have to download those. So here, if you click, my suggestion is, if you're preparing for this paper, first thing, understand the units, remember the syllabus. Second, try to find sources on the syllabus. Okay, I personally like Barron's Guide. I think it does well. It does cover everything. But then again, I don't want to limit you. There are other guides available too. There are some tutors who have written books on this. Those books are also quite informative. So all those information we can pass on later. Okay, but I just give you one suggestion. So first, understand the syllabus and then look at the guide and understand the scope. Third and most important thing is, from day 1, try to go through the last 5 years paper. Ignore 2021 because that was COVID, or 2020 and 2021 were aberrations. But again, there also we got some the pattern was a little different. But if you can go to 2019 and before that, you will see the assessments. Look at the free response questions and the answers. They will give you sample answers, right? An answer that got the perfect score, an answer that got a slightly below par score. So look at those answers, and that will give you a lot of confidence as to what kind of preparation you need to be able to write like that. Okay, so the first suggestion will be imitate somebody's a format. And for free response questions, we do have a kind of accepted format. It's not like mathematics, which is completely fixed, but there are certain things that we teach you. And if you just learn them, you know how to frame your answer, if I can say that, how to follow a particular structure. So I think, is it easy to learn? I got some questions. So if you have any other question, please ask. Okay, and if you want me to say anything else, please feel free. How do we teach the students? The first thing is that we cover the concepts. We cover all the 9 chapters. There are certain things that a student has to know, and those are the things that we teach. Okay, is it an easy to learn and the best score we can get in the subject? Well, if you compare it with the subject, say psychology is more scoring. That is like commonsensical. Okay, but is it easy to learn? If you have the aptitude, yes, it is. If you do not like history, no, it is not. That would be my honest answer. Is it a very popular subject? Not really. So not many students take it. That's why probably its allure is even better. I mean, a good score here will be more impressive for your CV, because this is not something which somebody can just prepare for in a month. You will need at least 2 to 3 months to prepare. So that will be it.